Hello everybody, it's Hannah and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be doing a massive eyeshadow palette declutter. So I did one of these a couple of months ago and I don't think I got rid of a ton at the time, but to be honest, I have not worn eyeshadow in months. I've only worn a couple of newer ones that I really like, but I have not been reaching for a couple of the other drawers of eyeshadow palettes that I have. So I really just want to go ahead, go through them and pare down the collection. Right now I have them in about 3 different drawers in my drawer set, which is just taking up like way too much space. So I want to get it down to at least 2 today, but we will just kind of go ahead and see how that ends up working out. But I'm going to be pulling them out sort of one drawer at a time. So let me go ahead and get the first batch of eyeshadow palettes. Alright, so we got the first drawer all emptied out. Let me go ahead and push some of these off to the side and let's go ahead and start looking through them. This first one we have here is actually a face palette. It's not actually an eyeshadow palette, but this is from Ofra. This is their Charm Your Cheeks mini mix palette, and I actually really like this one. It is a blush palette. I haven't gotten a ton of use out of it, but I definitely want to reach for it, and I think that if I have less palettes in general, that I will use them a little bit more. So let me go ahead and swatch these out just so you can get a look at what the colors actually look like. So even though they are all matte shades, I do think there is really good variety between all of them, so I do think it is a really good pickup. And if you're looking for a blush palette, I do definitely recommend this one. I love the formula of these. Alright, so this was our first keep. Oh, and just to let you guys know, this pile of palettes that I have here from this first drawer is actually my like everyday eyeshadow palettes, or sort of like my eyeshadow palette favorites. They're all my newer ones, the ones that I reach for constantly, that I like to have easily accessible. So most of these I think are going to be keeps, but I mean, you never know. So next one we have is this one here from Romand, and this was the Better Than palette in the shade 03 Rosebud Garden. How beautiful is this? I recently posted a video of testing out a bunch of Yes Style products, and this is a Korean beauty brand, and these are just so beautiful. How gorgeous is this sparkly shade? Like, this isn't even doing it justice. It's just so shimmery, so beautiful. The mattes are really blendable, and I just absolutely love them. I think that this is an amazing palette, and I definitely recommend it. This has been like my go-to since I picked it up. But I'm definitely 100% going to be keeping this one. Next up, this is going to be another keep. This is from Natasha Denona. I believe I got this from like an Ipsy drop shop or like a BoxyCharm pop-up. This is the 5 eyeshadow palette, the Cupid one. Again, I think this is really pretty. I love the colors in here. I've used these ones quite a lot. I actually haven't dipped into this one yet, but I think that's really beautiful. So I definitely am going to be keeping this one. Then I have my little Rowan quad over here. This is the 1111 quad, and these are sort of that like cream hybrid type of shadow. I've mostly used these shades over here. This one the most, you could probably tell, but I really like this one. It's a super unique formula to my collection, so I do think I am going to be keeping this one as well. Then this one is just like my favorite. You can see it's super beat up, and like this velvet packaging from Anastasia always gets really messy, but I mean, this palette is just so well loved. I'm obsessed with this one. It's my go-to. I mentioned this in my if I had to declutter everything except for one thing from each makeup category. This is the eyeshadow palette that I said that I would keep. It's just so good. The mattes are phenomenal. I love mixing these two together, Dusty Rose and Incense, doing Dreamer on the inner corner, a Sultry on the lid. It's just so good, and it's an amazing palette. I would definitely recommend this one. Next up, we have this one here from Pat McGrath. This one I got last year during holiday. This is their Celestial Odyssey Luxe Squad in Bronze Borealis, and this is so pretty. I just don't reach for it that much. I think maybe because there's only one matte in it, and I wish that the matte was maybe a little bit lighter. I guess it would be a little bit less intimidating, but I love the formula of these. I think that they're super pretty. They swatch amazing. I mean, you can just see right here. The quality of the shadows are beautiful, and I definitely don't want to get rid of this from my collection. I really need to make an effort to use this a little bit more in this upcoming year. So this one again is going to be a keep. Next one we have is this Patrick Ta palette. This was the Major Dimension 2 eyeshadow palette, the one that was like a little bit more rosy toned, and this is super pretty. Again, a palette that I thought that I would use more. I have not used the creams like in an eye look. I have used these shades here a couple of times. The shimmers are not my absolute favorite. They're a little bit too chunky and textured, maybe, I think is the issue. Like, I don't know if you can see here, but it's not that it's patchy. It's just like the way that they are is they're very thick, so I feel like you need to put it on thick, and it's just, I don't know, not my ideal formula for shimmers. It's a little bit more leaning again, which is not really my thing. I love the tone of the mattes, but I'm not a huge fan of this sort of like iridescent type of shades over here. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty palette, definitely. definitely. I'm not going to get rid of it because it was very expensive, and I do love, again, love using the mattes. This thing is so reflective. But yeah, this one I am going to keep as well. Then I have this here from Violet Voss. This is the Sun-Kissed Summer palette. I actually really like this one. This is another one that I got from Ipsy, I believe. And again, it has these really pretty sort of rosy, muted tones. The yellows are super fun. It's not something that I see in a bunch of other palettes. So that's good to know that I have some nice sort of mustardy, yellowy gold shades in here. This one is so beautiful. I loved using the Cool Down and Sunnies Out together as well. I think that they're really good. Again, the quality is amazing. I think that they look really nice, and you can see they stand up next to these more popular sort of higher end luxury brands, and it's not that expensive either. You can always find these on sale, especially through like Ipsy and stuff like that. They even have them, you know, buy one get one free deals like that. So I think it's really good, and I do love having this in my collection. I do actually find myself reaching for it. This is another newer one. We have the Lunar Beauty 12 Days of Lunar palette. This was the advent calendar palette for this holiday season. I have a whole video unboxing that if you guys want to go ahead and check it out. These are amazing. I love this palette so much. This shimmer formula is like no other. It's just so gorgeous. I absolutely love this color, and the matte shades are wonderful. I don't know, this is a really good palette, and it's the only thing that I have from Lunar Beauty, so I definitely do want to hold on to it. And this is one I actually have not used this one yet. I just got this from my boyfriend's sister for my birthday. This is the Queen Cosmetics Euphoria palette, so it's like a Euphoria inspired palette, and look at this color story. How beautiful is that? And has like all the characters' names like Jules, Gia, Rue, Fez, Cassie, Maddie, Kat, Lexi, and Nate. So I think that that's really fun. I love Euphoria. I thought that the show is really good. Definitely a fan of it, and I think that these are super fun. And again, I haven't used this yet, and I just got it, so I'm definitely going to hold on to it. But look how cute the packaging is. Then we have these two ColourPop palettes over here. So I have the So Fly palette, which I actually used a lot, I think, over the summertime. I was loving using this shade over here called FYI. It's sort of like that duochrome, like reddish base with like the teal shift on it. I don't know if we'll be able to pick it up on the camera, but you can definitely see it pan. This is a wonderful palette. Absolutely love it, and I'm definitely going to keep this one. And this one is the Plush Like Me palette. I think this is so pretty. I believe I got this in my ColourPop mystery unboxing video, and I kept this one for myself. I did use it once. As you can see, some of the shades have been swatched and used. However, I do think that I have enough of these tones at this point where I don't really need this palette, and I really would like to get my collection down. So even though this is newer to me, and I do really like it, and obviously, you know, the ColourPop formula is always really good, I do think I am going to declutter this one. There we go. Finally, like 10 minutes into the video, we are decluttering one. But again, remember, this was like my drawer of all my favorite stuff, so obviously I wasn't going to be decluttering a lot from it. But just wait, guys, I am prepared to get rid of a lot in the next drawers. Next up, we have my two Natasha Nona palettes. These are the only two like full-sized Natasha Nona palettes that I have. I have the Retro palette, which is like my absolute favorite palette ever. This is so pretty. It's almost like the big version of like the Romand palette. That one's a little bit more of that rosy kind of one, and this one is almost leaning a little bit more purple, but I love the shades in here. Some of the mattes are that like cream powdery formula, but I actually do really like that. And again, all the shimmers in here, they're just so beautiful. This is a favorite of mine, definitely going to keep. Same thing with the Natasha Nona Glam palette. This is super unique. I did get rid of my ColourPop That's Taupe palette, I believe, in the last declutter because I had this one, and I didn't really need that other one if I had this one, so of course I am going to keep this one. And again, they're very expensive, and both of them actually were gifts from my boyfriend for like my birthday and Christmas or whatever it was last year, so definitely gonna be keeping those. And then same thing with this. This was a gift last year from my boyfriend for Christmas. And this is the huge Pat McGrath Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey Artistry palette. And the shades in here are just that wonderful Pat McGrath formula. So of course I'm going to be keeping this one as well. And that was the end of this drawer. So let me go ahead and grab out the other one, and we can really get the declutter started. All right, so already running out of room with how many palettes were in this next drawer. So sorry about that. We'll kind of take from this pile first just so it gets out of the way. But this one, it consists of mostly all of my ColourPop palettes. So first one we have here is the Mandalorian palette, which I absolutely love this palette. I think it's so unique and really beautiful. I love the cool tones in here. I love this duochrome that's in here, again with that like darkened base with a little bit of like a red to it with the teal. I think it's gorgeous. You can do neutral look, you could do colorful look, you have that mustard in here, and of course, you know, I love Star Wars and the Mandalorian, so this one I am going to be keeping. And then already kind of the companion palette to that one is the Grogu palette, which is so cute. This is the Child Pressed Powder palette. I love this palette. I've gotten so much use out of it. I love the green tones in here. This is just such a good green eyeshadow palette. The formula, again, of ColourPop's really awesome. So if you like the color story, it's probably going to be good, and I just really like this one. And again, it's so cute. I mean, how can you not keep this one? Of course, I gotta keep that one. Then I have this palette here, which is the All Amethyst palette, which is newer to my collection, I think. It has these really pretty purple colors in it, and I love the formula of ColourPop with these bigger pans. I think that it's really, really good quality. I mean, that's super pretty. I do think I am going to end up keeping the All Amethyst palette. Oh, and then my other Star Wars one is the Darth Vader palette, which again, this one is super cool, and I kind of want to keep it just for like collector's reasons. So yeah, I am going to keep this one as well. Then I have these here. These are actually eyeliners, I think, but they're just with my palettes. These are from Glisten Cosmetics. It's like one that you can kind of customize yourself. So I picked these. They're like water activated liners. I tried using it once, like these ones, the purple and blue, and it just wasn't really my type of thing. I just prefer like, you know, like the little ColourPop colored ones if I'm trying to do a color liner. These ones, the BFF liquid liner. So I do think I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter this one. I just really haven't used it, and the experience that I had with it was not the best. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of that one. Then I have this palette. This is the Main Squeeze palette, which is like the watermelon red one. And I always think that I'm gonna get rid of this one, and then I end up keeping it because I think it's just super pretty and it's very unique colors. So I do think I am going to keep that one. So these are the Animal Crossing ones, which, oh my gosh, I never know what to do with these. I have all of them, and I think that they're really pretty. I don't really like the formula of them. I think that they just fit in the like collector part of my makeup collection, so I do think I am going to keep all of these little quads from ColourPop from the Animal Crossing collection. Then I have the Hocus Pocus Witching Hour palette. This one is not my favorite. I actually like the original one better, which was this one over here. It was the Gather Round Sisters, so I really like this one. Oh my gosh, these ones, I have such a hard time getting rid of like the limited edition type of palettes, so I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll just put these on the side for now and see how else we're doing. And like again, like the little Powerpuff Girl one, I used this one a lot over the summer. If like I know I need some bright ones, I do like to hold on to this one. So I'm gonna keep the Powerpuff Girls. Then we have Garden Variety. I used to use this one a lot more. I don't really reach for it anymore. Like I would really reach for this for the purples, but since I have like the Amethyst palette and like, you know, the Hocus Pocus palettes have purples, I think I am going to just declutter the Garden Variety. And you know what? I am just gonna go ahead and keep these two. Then this one is the Limoncello palette, which I think is so beautiful. Again, I really want to keep this, and I love some of the shades in here. Like this shade Semifredo I think looks beautiful. The yellows are very unique. The blue I don't reach for, but like take the blue out and this is such like a me palette. And I'm going on a cruise this summer to Greece and Turkey and like the Mediterranean, and like I feel like this is just such the vibe, and I really want to like bring this palette just for the vibe of it. But I don't know, is that like a dumb reason to keep it? I just think that the packaging is so nice. This just feels like super luxe, and again, it's like the big pan, so it's just that wonderful formula. Ooh, I think I'm gonna keep it. I really thought I was gonna get rid of this one, but all right, we did not do well in the ColourPop section, but I don't know, some of these ones that I have are just so good. Next up, we have this from the Nikki Tutorials collection, and I do like this one. This is like the Beauty Bay collab that she did with them. I just don't reach for it too much. Again, these are like super, super textured. You can see this is kind of like flaking out, and I don't really reach for the mattes all that often. I feel like it's coming across brighter in person as well. Like this yellow is almost more of a pastel in person where it looks like neon on the camera. I don't know. I would normally keep this for the colors, but I have a ColourPop rainbow palette over here, and I don't know. I think I'm probably just going to go ahead and declutter this one. I never use it, and there's no point in keeping it. Then I have this one here from Huda Beauty. This is the Rose Gold Remastered. I think I got this in like a BoxyCharm. It's pretty. It's just not really the tones that I use all that often, and it's relatively untouched, mostly this one. Some of them look like they have dips in it, but that's just how like they're pressed. I do really like the shade Pink Diamond. I think that's pretty, but all the mattes and stuff, like they're just a little bit too warm and orangey. Like I'm never going to use these colors in here. Again, I like the shimmers, but I don't know. I think I'm just gonna declutter this one as well. And I have this one here from Tarte. I always love to keep this one. This is the Clay Play Volume 2, but I never use it. This one I think just has like way too many memories from a couple years ago when my boyfriend went away to college, and I always used to go visit him, and this was the palette that I would bring. And it just smells so good. Like I open it up and it just smells like chocolate. The formula's really good. And I don't know, I kind of want to like keep this one in my everyday drawer, like that top drawer that I have, so that I maybe reach for it a little bit more, like the bronzer And I think like the blush is really pretty, the highlight obviously, and I've really been liking the Park Avenue Princess bronzer from them, so I feel like I would really like this one as well. So I do think I am going to keep this one. Then I have this one here, which I think I decluttered. It was in like my highlighters. Originally it's the Fenty Beauty Mimosa Sunrise and Sangria Sunset, but I don't know how it ended up with my eyeshadow palettes, but I am just going to declutter this one. I never use that. Then I have some of my singles here, which I have them in these two palettes. So the ones in here are Sydney Grace, JD Glow, Shine by SD, and Looksy over here. So I have all those, which I'm just going to keep them. And then I have Looksy up top and then Sydney Grace here. This is kind of like my little custom palette that I made, which I really need to reach for this because the formula of them are all really good. And these are so pretty, all these Looksy shades. Like, I mean, come on, this is crazy. They're really, really beautiful. So I don't really know if this counts as palettes because it's just holding my singles, but I am going to keep those too. Oh, we have another ColourPop palette here. We actually have two of them. We have this one, the Fade Into Hue, which is like my rainbow palette, which I feel you need a rainbow palette because you never know when you're gonna need just straight up rainbow, like bright colors. And I actually have used this one quite a bit. It has come in handy, so I am definitely going to keep this one. It's also super slim, so it's really easy to keep and store, so I love that about this palette. And we have the Sprinkle a Little Magic Tinkerbell. This one, oh my gosh, I keep thinking I'm gonna get rid of stuff, but it's like these collaborations. ColourPop goes all out with the packaging. It has like these embossed letters, this raised texture, it has glitter, and I don't know, I just really want to keep it. Again, I thought I was gonna get rid of it, but I don't know, I can't. It has like the nice mirror, it's kind of heavy. I think I gotta keep it. All right, we are not doing as good as I thought. I mean, I pared my collection down quite a bit, so every time I do a declutter video, of course I'm gonna be getting rid of less and less because I have less and less, but regardless, let's go ahead and finish up these last two palettes from this section. So I have my Pure Raw Beauty Chrissy palette. It has the double-sided. It has like the colors over here, which I don't really use as much. I don't even know if I've ever used the colorful side actually, but the nude side I love. I mean, you could see I loved this shade over here, the Moo Point. I mixed that one with Copper Boxes and it was like my everyday for months. It's so good. I really love the formula of this. The color story is just beautiful, so I am definitely going to be keeping this one. And then, you know, my Tati Beauty palette. Not really sure what's going on with Tati at the moment, like as far as like content goes and stuff like that. I haven't really been keeping up, but I mean, this is just like so iconic. I feel like I need to keep it, so I am going to keep it. So that was it for this drawer. Let's go ahead and move on to the last one. Moving on to the next section, we have this here from Ciate. This is the Miss Piggy collection, all about moi cream face palette. I do like this one and I have gotten a little bit of use out of it, but I never use it, so I'm just gonna declutter this. Then I have this Rare Beauty palette. This was the Confident Energy palette and it's like one of the all shimmer ones. I don't really use this one all that much, but it was a gift, so I do think I'm just gonna hold on to it for a little bit longer and maybe see if I can get more use out of it. And then same with this one. This one was a gift. It's the Pat McGrath Eye Ecstasy Sublime eyeshadow palette, but I have so many Pat McGrath eyeshadows at this point that I don't think I need this one. It's kind of repetitive, so I do think I am going to declutter this. Then I have this palette here from Lorac. This is the Lorac Pro eyeshadow palette 2. And I have panned actually a couple of shades in here. It's a really good palette. I do like it. The shimmers are okay. They're not the best. I like the matte. I've gotten enough use out of this where I feel comfortable getting rid of it. I do love how slim it is. I originally bought this for the purpose of traveling, but that trip came and went. That was supposed to happen during COVID. Me and my mom were supposed to go to London and Paris, but we never ended up getting to go. So I told myself, even though I bought this palette with the purpose of going on that trip, I still wanted to get use out of it. So I like made myself pan at least two of the shades in here, and I did. So I feel comfortable enough at this point to just go ahead and declutter this one. Then, oh my gosh, I have my original Sweet Peach palette. This one is supposed to be actually in my little holder display, which we'll get to at the end of this video, which is kind of like my super nostalgic and collectible, I guess, eyeshadow palettes. This was like my favorite eyeshadow palette ever in high school back in like 2016, 2017, and you know, I gotta keep this one. It's just so iconic. By the way, I'm keeping this not really to use it, but just more so as like my memory makeup, I guess you could call it. Then I have this Huda Beauty palette. This is the Desert Dusk palette, which I got for like $7, I think on Black Friday last year. And I don't even think I've ever used it on my eyes once. I do love this shade Twilight, but I don't know, the Huda Beauty shimmer formula is just kind of weak. Like, it's not very thick and you really need to layer it. Like, you can see it doesn't have much of a base and also doesn't have much of a shift. So I don't know, just not the best. So I do think I am going to go ahead and declutter this soon as well. Then I have another little mini Natasha Denona. This is the mini sunset palette, which it's tiny and cute, and Natasha Denona formula is awesome, so I do think I am going to keep this one. Then I have this from Glamlight. This is the Glamlight Pizza Veggie Lovers, and it has like these green shades in it. I think I kept enough green dedicated palettes, so I do think I am going to declutter this one. I got it at Marshall's, like super cheap, and I just don't really love it that much. Glamlight is pretty good, but it's not my ideal formula. The shimmers are super blinding, but they're also just very thick, so not my preferred type of formula, so I'm gonna go ahead and declutter that. Next up, I have this from Hourglass. This is the Ambient Lighting Edit Mini. This was from like a couple years ago, I think, like maybe 2 years ago. And it has like the powder, the blush, bronzer, and highlight. And it's really pretty. Mine is just broken, and the pan sizes are kind of too small where it's difficult if like I want bronzer to get bronzer out without like hitting everything else. And I don't know, I got decent use out of the powder, which I do really like. I wish I could kind of like take that out, but it's pretty much impossible to depot this. I don't even think I could if I wanted to. So I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter it. Then I have this little MAC duo with some singles in here. I actually made this when I was in New York City. I went to the MAC store, and again, I'm not really sure what shades these are, but it's just like a dark brown, and it's kind of like a frosty pinkish color. And again, it's really tiny and has a little bit of sentimental value to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep that. I have two quads that look pretty similar. This one, if you guys have been following my channel for quite a long time, you know I'm obsessed with this. This is the like Sweet and Shimmer like Ulta holiday one that's like literally $1. It's so good. They come out with it every year. They came out with it again this year. I probably should have picked up a new one and tossed this one because this one is probably like 2 or 3 years old. But I love this, and it's so good, and it's literally $1 if you get it in like the 5 for $5. And I love this one, again, to reference, to use. It's just so good. So definitely going to go ahead and keep that one. One that's similar but I don't really love. I don't love ColourPop when they're in square pressed pans. I feel like the formula is just different. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it. Next up, I have this one from REM Beauty. This is the Baby Doll eyeshadow palette. And this one I used once or twice. I didn't really give it the best shot. I haven't really thought much about it when I was using it, and I haven't used it since. So I don't know. This one, I do think it's small enough. It's not really impacting my collection. I can fit it in that other drawer, so I am going to go ahead and keep this. And then the final thing I have here is from Becca. This is from a really, really old holiday collection, the Eyelights palette from the Après Ski Glow collection. And this one says it's like eyeshadows, but it's really like in the highlighter formula. Like I already have like Rose Quartz and Moonstone, and the darker ones, like they're good. It's just like they're nothing that special in this day and age. They're just kind of like satin colors, nothing super crazy. Even though it is limited edition, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter this one anyway. Alright, so that was the end of all my palettes. Let me go ahead and bring out the ones that I've decluttered so we can count them all up and see how we did. Alright, so in total I got rid of 14 eyeshadow palettes. To be honest, is way better than I thought it would be. I'm actually super happy with the outcome of this declutter. By the way, if you guys didn't know, from every video until the end of the month of December, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. And for today's video, I'm going to be giving away this little Clinique lip duo. For more information on how to enter, just check out the description box down below. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys!